Hi, my name's Caroline Ray, and I created a short film for one of my class projects. I basically want to tell you kind of the behind scenes of the process I took to create this story. I want to tell you the meaning behind the story, how I made the story my own, what props I used, locations, characters, and just my basic timeline on how I did this. To start off, I created my short film based off of the Twilight Zone episode, The Hitchhiker. To give a brief summary of my short film, I had a young man driving along the highway texting his father that he's on his way. He got into a mild accident, and then after that accident, he kept seeing this woman every single time he reached a new destination. So naturally, he started getting paranoid and trying to figure out, how is it that I am driving, 70, 75 miles per hour, but this person keeps getting picked up and then driving past me to be dropped off, so I keep passing her, as though she beats him every single step of the way. Along the way, he also meets another hitchhiker, who he actually starts giving a ride to make him feel safe, as though, maybe if another person saw this person, then, I'm not crazy kind of thing. Unfortunately, that person doesn't see the hitchhiker he's looking at, so if you watch the short film, you will see what happened. Along the way, he starts to kind of realize something is wrong, something is happening. He phones home because his cell phone keeps getting out of service, which would make sense maybe if you're traveling and you're out in the country or driving and you need a phone call. So he calls his dad, and turns out his dad's in a psych ward because his son had passed away a couple days ago due to a car accident, which the cause of death was texting and driving. And that's when he notices, oh, I'm not actually alive this whole time. So it's a really cool story that I gained from watching this episode from Twilight Zone. Next is the kind of behind the story of why did I pick this story? How did I come about this story? And basically this PSA is inspired from a tragic loss of a close friend, while simultaneously I had just watched this Hitchhiker movie. Now, I thought that would be a really great, modern way to give a PSA, where it wasn't something graphic, it wasn't something short, but it was just something where you figured out at the very end what happened. And although this story is just kind of a normal, I think, crash from turning over the car, I thought it'd be really cool to modernize it, make it a text and driving PSA. So how did I make this story my own? Kind of like what I said before, I wanted to make it a little bit more modernized. So I did all the film in color, because I felt like if we're in the era of 2017, it always messes with my mind if I see something in black and white, because I don't ever attach that to this generation. So I wanted to make it in color. I also wanted to have some diversity in it. In this particular episode in Twilight, you see just a white woman and a white man following her. So I wanted to put some different diversity inside of my film. And also the age of the characters are a little bit different. I believe the girl in the episode is 30, but my character, he's in his mid-20s because I'm in college. And that just kind of made sense for me and for whatever I needed. And then the best part is I wanted to make the characters opposite genders. So I wanted to show the fact that a guy who is driving, who gets a flat tire, might not know how to change a flat tire, to kind of broaden out that minority that some guys aren't always handyman, and that some women can fix cars, or some women can be hitchhikers, and that's okay. So I just wanted to kind of shine a light on minorities in that way. So for equipment, I used 2 Canon DSLRs, one to shoot the main scenes and then another one for behind scenes. I also used a boom pole that I attached a microphone to, so that I wouldn't actually have to be in the shot to get decent audio. It was really windy, and I would suggest if anybody's going to record in the wind to use a filter over your mic. That will definitely help. Other than that, I kind of had the basic camera setup where you had a SD card for your camera, batteries, and even a tripod, and we included a light as well for the night scenes in the car. So props. props was a big part of this. I was hoping that the more props that you use that were more modern, that you wouldn't actually realize they were props. So the car that I had, I owned, so a lot of these props were free, which is really wonderful. So we had a car, which was a prop. We didn't have a payphone. It was more of just a phone on the wall that we found somewhere. It wasn't even working. A spare tire, and then a cell phone, a toolbox, and then we have the characters' outfits. If you notice, the characters have specific colors that I gave them. If they were blue, then that kind of meant that they were isolated. The hitchhiker that's following Nate, she's wearing blue because she's isolated. She's not of this world, so to speak. The guy who is a waiter, he's wearing blue. You notice when he's talking, it's as though he hasn't talked to anybody all day. So he's really excited to tell Nate all the information that he has. So he was lonely and looking for a friend. The girl who's from Oklahoma and Nate himself are both wearing red, which kind of meant they were in danger. And if you watch a short film, you will see how they're in danger. And then the old man who was the mechanic, or not mechanic, the old man who was a gas station clerk, he was kind of wearing a dark coat to kind of symbolize, like, he's angry. He's kind of a dark character who is giving Nate difficulties. And then the mechanic was wearing green, which would mean a little naive. Like, she didn't see the hitchhiker, but she wasn't really too concerned about it. She's like, yeah, like, I'm sure it's no big deal. So every color that the character was wearing had a meaning behind it. Locations. So for the locations that we went, we had to ask for either permission or just make sure it was somewhere safe, because we had to deal with a lot of driving on a highway, so we had to make sure we were safe. So we definitely had some highway shots where I was in the car filming my driver, or the main character, and we're of course wearing seatbelts. A dirt road, which we mostly used at a park where they had a driveway, so we weren't actually in any danger of any cars, and we actually filmed on there multiple times for different scenes, or if I had to be on the outside of the car filming, or just like the car passing by me. The deli that we had wasn't a very big one. It was free. It was inside the school, so we didn't have to go far. A car repair shop. We found one that was closed down, so we weren't bothering anybody. And then the quote-unquote payphone was again inside buildings that we had access to. What characters will be filmed? So I did a little bit of a rundown as far as what colors of the clothing of the characters meant. So the characters that we have, there's a main character who's Nate. He was texting and driving. The hitchhiker from Oklahoma. The counterman or the waiter. The mechanic, gas station man. A narrator, which was my voice narrating kind of the beginning and the end of the film, and then a voice from the friend of the phone with another voiceover. And this is my timeline. It establishes the actors and filming of the schedule at the very first week, so I had to make sure that I knew what times would work with certain characters, and if I could pair them up on certain days, that would work, really kind of grouping up and making use of my time. I had another week where I just shot solo shots, so I wouldn't have to do solo and couples together. I could just do it one day and splice it later. Beginning film dialogue. I wrote up all my scripts, and then I did kind of narration or voiceovers if it was really windy, which it happened to be really windy that day. And then I started editing my project, which I edited on Premiere Pro and then Audition. Basically, the Premiere Pro's for videos, and then I use Audition to do a lot of sound effects. And then, of course, a review. I'm actually having a premiere to have all the audience, or not the audience, but all the characters who were in the film to be able to see it first, to see what they created. And then this is another look of what I used to edit on. This is Premiere Pro. You have in your timeline what scenes you captured, and then you just kind of put it along the way. And then I had Audition, which this is where I would say is one of the number one thing overlooked, but is really, really handy. So I had 8 layers of sound effects, and this is included with music, walking, some voiceovers, opening, closing car doors, keys, basically anything that you can see in the film that makes sound. I artificially remade those sounds and put them in. So it'd be something that was smoother and cleaner and made sense. Overall, this was a very challenging project. I definitely had success in some of the camera work that I did and some of the camera angles and stuff like that. I would say the failure a little bit might have been recording the sound, because it was really windy that day. I didn't have a filter over my microphone to help block out that wind, so that's definitely a lesson that I learned. And then I think just little things, little details make a big difference. But that is my short film. I really hope you enjoy it. And yeah, go check it out.